Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Write Books, a weekly live stream show where writers can come together for community advice and, more importantly, a dedicated time for you to work on your book. I'm Micah Crowdy, the head of writing at Butterdocs, the perfect app for writing your novel, the app I'm using to write my novel. You can learn more about Butterdocs in the link below. I want to welcome everyone joining me live or on the replay. Before we get into it, I want to know where are you? What kind of book are you writing? And then kind of have a different question today for y'all. So normally we ask the first two questions: where are you? What kind of book are you writing? And then the third one's sort of like a writing question to get our brains going. But I want to get a sense of more of what people are reading themselves, because this is Let's Write Books. But if you're a writer of books, you are also a reader of books. So I want to know where you are in the world. What kind of book are you writing? What are you working on? What are you going to be working on here today at Let's Write Books? And then I also want to know, what are two books that you've read in the last year that you've loved? And optional, what did you love about them? So where are you in the world? What kind of book are you writing? What are you working on today? And then I want to know, what are two books you've read in the last year that you've loved? And if you want, what did you love about them? Now, these could be two books that are from the same genre, and it's like the genre you love. Or it could be two books that sort of show the range of what you like to read. They could be nonfiction, they could be a collection of short stories, essays, they could be novels, whatever they are. And if you want to throw in a little bit about what you loved about them, then we'll do that. Well, then that's great. Love to hear that too. I want to get a sense of like what you guys read and like, what you're into. I'm curious. I feel like I'm here talking all the time and I see you guys in the chat and I like got to get to know you a little bit through the chat, but I'm like, I want to learn a little more. I want to know what you guys are into. All right. So now today we're kind of doing a little bit of a different episode. I'm going to answer these questions in a second myself, let you guys get in there and answer in the chat what you're working on. So we usually do topic-based writing sprints here. So like we worked on stakes last week, and next week we're going to do an episode on antagonists, which I think should be pretty cool. But today I want to do something a little different where it's just kind of like a writer's choice session or like a power writing session, whatever it is. And this was kind of inspired by last week, where the stakes for your writing I was doing was sort of like bringing up some things that I just really wanted to explore and just kind of wanted to have time to explore. And I was thinking, everyone probably has these aspects of their writing that they just need to, like, there's something that they need just to like dive into and get into. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. They're gonna be like free form writing sprints. So they're not gonna have prompts or topics today for the sprints. It's gonna be like whatever you really need to just like dig in and work on in your book is what we're going to work on today. If you're joining again, the questions are up on the screen. Where are you? What kind of book are you writing? And then what are two books you've read in the last year that you loved? And what did you love about them? Again, these could be two books that are from the same genre, and it's just like the genre you love. It could be, kind of show you the range you like to read. And if you like, you can't think of two, like one would be great. And I'll share some myself. All right. So I'm in LA. Where am I? And I'm writing a novel about three estranged best friends who return home to their small town for their 20th high school reunion to deal with an explosive secret from their past that's in danger of being revealed. And as I was thinking about this question, of course, obviously this is like, it's hard. It's like hard to make choices, but I actually keep a spreadsheet of every book I read. It's something when I was a kid, my dad, he had these just 3x5 index cards, kind of like this. And his desk was just like full of these little boxes of these, because when he was in his 20s, he started writing an index card for every book he read. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool. So when I was in my 20s, I started doing that, but I just did a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet. So I just have a spreadsheet that I just like keep a list of books. I kind of wish I included more information, but I just basically put like the title, the author, and the year I read it, and maybe something like how I read it, like if it was a Kindle or live or whatever. So I was like looking back kind of over the last year. And so I chose some books. So the two I'm going to choose, the first one is going to be Secondhand Time, The Last of the Soviets by Svetlana Alexievich. She actually won the Pulitzer Prize, the Nobel Prize in 2015 for literature. This is a nonfiction book, and it is so awesome. It's about the fall of the Soviet Union and the emergence of sort of the new Russia. but it's not like a political history. It doesn't talk about like the government a lot. It's not like a history book. It is basically dozens and dozens of interviews with just like tons of people of different ages from like 1991 through like 2011, I think, or 2015. Just like normal people in the Soviet Union and the former Soviet Union, and just kind of like how they dealt with the fall of the Soviet Union. And I just found it really fascinating because it's all these people that just grew up in a completely different political and economic system, philosophical system. And then and that's what they were raised to sort of do. And then suddenly they're in this new world, and it's just so foreign and strange to them. And this book, it was a little slow at the beginning. It's just a bunch of like kind of interviews with people, kind of in like first person essay form. And at the beginning I was like, okay, I'm not really sure I'm into this. But then I just like, it's fascinating. Because you have people like, who she interviewed like 90-year-olds in like, or 80-year-olds in like the 90s who like lived through the Soviet Revolution. And then people who are like teenagers who are like suddenly buying Levi's for the first time, and like all these different things. And like, it's, I don't know, fascinating book. I love it. So that was something I loved from the last year. And then another one is Jesus' Son. This is a collection of short stories. This is a classic collection of short stories by Dennis Johnson. And I mean, some of these stories here just like set my mind on fire. Like, it's just like, it's a little rough, content advisories, but like fantastic writing. I mean, just like you just set the book down some lines and are just like, whoa, that was amazing. So, yeah, love that one. Those are my two. And then I realized, okay, neither of those were novels. One was a nonfiction, one was a collection of short stories. So I decided to do like, I'll just do like a list of honorable mentions of novels that I liked in the last year, in case you want to know. This one, Shaky Town by Lou Matthews, is really cool. I like Lou Matthews. I've met him a couple times. And also, this is like an LA novel, and I am a sucker for LA novels, and it's really fun. And then this one is Bread and Wine by Ignazio Silone. I don't know if we've got our Italian friends here today. But this is fantastic. This book was written in like the 1920s, I think. It's kind of like the rise of fascism and people sort of like how they deal with that. And it was really cool. And then a couple of like modern other things is Colored Television by Danzy Senna. It's about like a struggling novelist trying to break into television as like someone who works in LA and Hollywood. This is just fascinating and just like awesome. And just like cringe inducing at times. And then this one, which is maybe a lot of people have heard of, Normal People by Sally Rooney, which is also just like such an emotionally just like fascinating and brutal book. But yeah, so those are some books that I've loved in the last year. All right, everyone in the chat, Juno and James, welcome. James in Jersey, working on a comic strips, fantasy lore. Teji in San Jose. Let's see here, James. 2 books he's read last year. When the Wolf Comes Home, modern take on werewolves, but very reminiscent of Lon Chaney Wolfman. Cool. Nisi, welcome. Juno's been reading memoirs. Pre-study by Patricia Lockwood, an autobiography of Face by Lucy Greeley. Cool. Fantastic. Teji, 2 books. Starling House by Alex E. Harlow, and Welcome to the Xiaomandong Bookshop by Hong Burim. Oh, cool. I don't know a lot of these books. You like tracking what you read too, use Goodreads. Started trying to switch to Storygraph, but more of my friends still use Goodreads. I'm so bad at those kind of things. Like, I set up a Goodreads years ago, and I don't know if I ever added anything to it. Like, and I have friends who use like Goodreads for books, and they're into like Letterboxd for movies, and I like set up accounts for both those things and just never use them. Like, I have my little spreadsheet. I finish a book, I open my spreadsheet, I write it down, save it, close my spreadsheet, and that's it. But like, I wish I like did more on Goodreads, but I it didn't here. Writing all these title downs, Rooney had, Sally Rooney's fantastic. Normal People was a great book. Yeah. Anyways, well, if you feel like it, you can get in the chat and drop the books that you've loved in the past year. Let's see here. Ooh, Nisi's thrown in there, writing from Hawaii, new romance novel. I read a lot of books. This is a tough question. It is a tough question. I was like looking at my book list, and I was just like, what would I choose? That's why I just kind of ended up choosing 2 and then adding, what did I add? Like 4 kind of honorable mentions. I just wanted to like kind of like show like a variety of different kinds. You said some fantasy, Oathbound, Book 3 of Legend Horror, the Amari series, and maybe Squad Goals. Oh, cool. Fun. Yeah, Yeah, the spreadsheet works for me and knows you see other people are reading it. Add to my list. I mean, it's great. Like, I think, yeah, the Goodreads is great as like for finding new books and everything like that. I just like don't stick to it. I don't know why. I just like, I have my little spreadsheet and like, that's good. And it's so funny because I started the spreadsheet in 2011, I think. And I'll admit, sometimes I'll like look at that list and I just like don't even remember. I'll be like, what was this book? And I'll have to Google it. So I kind of wish like I should probably add more notes as to like what they are. Cool. Well, yeah, if you're joining, throw in your books. I want to know in the last year, 2 books you've read that you've loved, and also where you are and what you're writing. And if you joined, yeah, today we're doing a little differently. We're not doing topics on the sprint. It's like a kind of writer's choice for your writing. So we're going to do 3 25-minute timed writing sprints. If you're new, I'm going to put a timer up, 25 minutes, play some music, and you can just use that time to work on your novel. Normally, like we'll be doing topics. Like last week, we worked on stakes. Next week, we're working on antagonists. But today is just kind of a free writing session. So like no topics, no themes today. Just like diving in whatever you want to work on in your novel. So I think we're going to jump in pretty soon. Oh, and then also later, do a little hummingbird update on the hummingbirds that I showed last week that have nested right outside my office. Well, one hummingbird that's nested right outside my office. So like fresh hummingbird content coming during the second break for y'all. All right, so I think we should just do it. Like today is just a day about writing. So I'm just going to we're going to hop into it, I think, right here. We're going to do the 25-minute writing sprint to get started. So open up your document. Yeah, if you're writing by hand, writing in Butterdocs, whatever you're doing. And yeah, let's try to get into a writing groove and just kind of use this time, let your curiosity or creativity be your guide, whatever you really feel like you need to work on today. This was sort of inspired because of, last week, one of the sprints was sort of making me rethink some aspects of my novel in terms of like the characters and the POV. And I'm like, I just feel like I just need kind of like free range sprints just to kind of like chase down these ideas and figure some stuff out. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I'm going to put 25 minutes up on the clock, play some music, and we will check back in on the other side. But like, let's do it, everybody. It's writing time. Okay, and this is the smooth and easy transition out of the writer sprint. Hopefully not too jarring. I haven't gotten my air horn yet to end the writing sprint and give you all panic attacks. That was the first writing sprint. This is Let's Write Book. Welcome to everyone who joined us. If you joined us during that sprint, you can get in the chat and let us know where you are, what kind of book you're writing. And our kind of discussion question today, we've been talking about are what 2 books you've read in the last year that you've loved. So if you haven't shared those books that you've loved in the last 2 years that you've read, get in the chat. Let us know. And you can also say, if you want, what you loved about them. I shared my books earlier. I might mention them again a little later on if you missed that. But anyways, let me know, how did that sprint go for everyone? Were the muses with you? Were you blessed with their creative presence, or were you struggling? Were you struggling with anything in particular? Let me know. That was really cool for me. So I kind of mentioned that I've been trying to chase some like new ideas down for this novel I've been writing. It's kind of been a process because I mentioned what the novel is about, these 3 estranged high school best friends who come back to their hometown for their 20th high school reunion because of some secret from their past that they have to deal with. And they're not friends really anymore. They haven't talked. Things have happened. There's, secrets, but they have this sort of common thing they have to deal with. And so when I was originally thinking about my novel, I was like, okay, yeah, 3 POVs, each of the 3 friends. That kind of makes sense. But as the more I've worked, the more I've kind of gotten away from that. And last week, I sort of like thought of a new character that like, I think I'll probably talk about more a little bit next week because he's kind of an antagonist. And we're going to talk about antagonists next week. But yeah, so it's sort of like I'm just kind of like opening up like the structure of the novel a little bit and who the POV characters are in the novel. And so today I was kind of like in that first sprint, I was just sort of really breaking down who this new character is that I thought of last week and kind of like what they want, what's going through, and kind of like breaking out some of their story beats. So it was a good first sprint from me. So I want to know, how did the sprint go for you? How's your writing today? Are the muses with you? Are you struggling? I don't know. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about that you're struggling with? Maybe we can all like pitch in and chat about. Or if you didn't share your favorite books, which was our topic today a little bit, what your favorite two books you've loved in the last year, get in the chat. Let me know. And we can chat about those. An announcement we have next week, as I kind of mentioned in as I was talking about. Normally we do like a kind of themes for these writing sprints. So next week it's bring on the antagonists and look at that guy who's dealing with an antagonist or something. It's great, always great to like stare at your own face on these things. But we're going to be doing writing sprints focused on antagonists and kind of like what they can bring to your novel in terms of like story and developing your other characters, and of course conflict, which is always like the thing that we're looking for. So that's next week. You can RSVP in the link below to check that out. It should be a great time. And then, so that's going to be on May 12th. May 19th, we're going to be off. I'm going to be on a little vacation that day. And then we'll be back on the 26th with a special guest. We're going to be talking about like telling true stories. It's going to be like an essayist, memoirist guest who's going to be joining us. I'm going to create that event pretty soon. And you'll be able to RSVP for that, but that should be pretty fun. We'll be talking about like telling true stories, for writing those, but also kind of how those kind of skills can help you with your novel writing. So yeah, next week antagonists. The week after that I'll be on vacation, and then on the 26th we're gonna have a special guest here on Let's Write Books. So that should be a good time. Jude had a pretty good sprint today. I had to take a phone call to answer this part of it, but I hope I can get back in the groove for part 2. Yeah, unfortunately, the world doesn't stop when you're doing a writing sprint. Sometimes it feels like that, especially when your sprints are going really well. That, like, I think like that's what things you're always hoping for, the world to just kind of fall away in the background and just like to forget that you're even doing a writing sprint. But then sometimes you get a phone call that you have to deal with, and it kind of snaps you back to reality. Juno, I was also thinking that every time I see your name, I think of Jesse Pinkman, obviously because of the Pinkman thing, but because of the J. So you're always associated with Jesse Pinkman in my head, obviously the character from Breaking Bad. if you haven't seen that show, which most people at least are familiar with now. So I don't know if you're a Breaking Bad fan at all, but I just want you to know that I always think of Jesse Pinkman when I see your name. No relation. That's good. He doesn't have a happy endless. Sarah, welcome. We are doing free range sprints today. We're talking also about what our favorite books we've read in the past year. So if you want to mention 2 of the books that you've read, you can get in the chat and do that. And then we are going to hop pretty soon into the second writing sprint. So today is just like kind of a power writing session. It's free form, writer's choice, whatever you need to work on in your book today. I feel like we all have those things sometimes where you're just like, I just need to like just really focus on that one thing, drill down on it, or just lock in and work on that. So that's what I'm doing today. And the first sprint was really, really good for me. And I'm excited to get into the second sprint in just a second. One other announcement: if you want to join us on Wednesday, we do Let's Write Scripts. So we do Let's Write Books on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific, and Let's Write Scripts at Wednesday afternoons at 1 p.m. Pacific. That's our screenwriting focused show. But of course, you can just like work whatever you want on whatever you want there. So if you want to work on your novel and you're just like, oh, I like this is cool, I want to like write with some other people on a Wednesday afternoon, then you can join for Let's Write Scripts. Or if you're also writing scripts, which I know a lot of you are, you can join for that. So Let's Write Books on Mondays, Let's Write Scripts on Wednesdays. We're writing, and you can just show up and write whatever you want. Because it's just like fun to like have other writers, writing with you. And I think it really can also helps for productivity. Sometimes when I'm just on my own, it's just like the rest of the internet is so tempting and my phone and everything. But I can't. Hosting this is great because I can't look at my phone. Because if I look at my phone, I'm on a camera, and like none of you all will just like be able to like see me like doing it. I feel like everyone knows what the phone eye gestures are. Like if I look down at my phone like that, it's just like there's something where like if I'm looking at something else, you can tell if it's just like I'm just like, oh, looking at something. But if I'm looking at my phone, it's like everyone knows what that what a phone glance looks like. So being on camera, I'm like, I can't look at my phone at all because like everyone watching is gonna know that I'm looking at my phone. Anyways, so there we go. Thanks everyone for helping my productivity. All right, so we are gonna hop into the second writing sprint. We're gonna do another 25-minute writing sprint. Hopefully you got warmed up in that first writing sprint, and we can move on from there, grow from there. Oftentimes in the first writing sprint, it is just kind of a warm up. You're like getting a bit in the groove. In the second writing sprint is where you can, like start making progress. So I'm going to put 25 minutes back on the clock, switch up the music. We're going to hop back into the writing. We're just writing focus today. And I'll catch you guys on the other side. And on the other side, after the next sprint, we're going to do a hummingbird update. And my little feathered friend that's nested outside of my office. And we'll see what she's been up to. So 25 minutes on the clock, play some music, and I'll catch you guys all on the other side. Happy writing. Let's do it. brings us to the end of the second writing sprint here on this Monday morning. Welcome to Let's Write Books. If you joined us during that writing sprint, this is Let's Write Books, but Let's Write not Brooks. Let's Write Books, brought to you by ButterDocs, the app for writing your novel. It's what I'm using to write my novel. You can check it out in the description below. Let me know how that sprint went for you. First off, welcome if you joined, and let me know how it went. Did the muses show up? Did they abandon you? I'd love to hear how your writing is going today. For those who are with us, Nisi, Juno, Sarah, Teji, people in the chat, James, let me know. How's your writing going? What are you dealing with today? I'd love to hear it. That was a pretty good sprint for me as well. I'm like this new sort of avenue that I've opened up in my writing has been very helpful with this novel. I'm like figuring out this new character. It's really interesting because it's like it's always interesting. It's scary sometimes to make big changes to your novel because a novel is so huge that when you're trying to reconstruct something, it can be scary to go in. Luckily, like I've sort of my word count isn't that high. I've been mostly doing like story breaking and character things, so it's a little less scary for me to go in and change things. But I'm really glad I do because I feel like I'm unlocking things and I'm excited about the direction that my novel's going. So I'd love to hear how it's going for you. Nisi, the sprints are going so fast. I feel like that's always a good sign, right? When the sprints are going fast, it means you're writing. You're not staring at the clock. You're actually like in the creative groove. It's when they're going slow that like you're like, oh man, this is bad. This is bad. Teji's going pretty well. Been working on plot leading up to midpoint, so I have the foundation before I write those chapters. Awesome. Sounds great. Glad, Teji, that the writing is going well for you. The midpoint's always such a crucial part, I feel like, of books. I'm not a huge like certain beats thing when like, oh, this is like the thing, and I get to this beat and that beat. But like for me, midpoints are always that's like the one that I always think about when I'm thinking about my story structure is just like the midpoint and just something just big changing there. And it's just kind of like there's that classic climax and like denouement thing, but for me it's more like a mountain where it's like the midpoint is like the thing. It's not the climax, like there's also climax after that, but it's like I always think of the midpoint as like a turntable, like a record player. Like you get there and then just like the world turns and something changes and you're just like fundamentally in a new thing heading towards the climax. So it's like the midpoint for me is almost like a slingshot. Like also, it's a slingshot. Mixing my metaphors here. It's a slingshot on a turntable. So the turntable rotates, and you're in this new world, and then the slingshot shoots you off in this new direction, like towards your climax. So yeah, that's it. that's my writing wisdom today. A midpoint is like a slingshot on a turntable. You can print that. Awesome. Juno, as always, I preoccupied with structure, even in memoir. I have so much material to cover, but I feel like I have to well to make sense and forms a satisfying whole. It's hard. Yeah, I'm excited, Juno, for our guest that we have in a couple of weeks who can talk a little bit about kind of telling true stories. I mean, I'm not a memoirist. I haven't written much in the creative nonfiction space, but I do know just in terms of like adaptation, different forms, that like a memoir and a life are different things, right? A life really has no narrative arc. It's events, like it's real. And in some sense, like a memoir is a little bit not fictional, but pruned in some sense. Like you're trying to find a story amid that. So there's so much to leave out and you're shaping the story. So it's true, but like it's a version of the truth in some sense, if that knows, because that's like I get when you're saying what's form of satisfying whole. Yeah, that's so hard because like lives aren't neat like that. And so you really are trying to find a narrative within that. So I sympathize with what you're going through. And it sounds like you're on the right path. But I would say when you say you have so much material to cover, that you can't probably cover everything, right? Like what's the story in it that you're trying to tell? With Nisi, this one's a bit challenging yet very interesting because I initially wrote part of it and now I'm expanding upon those couple scenes to make an entire story. That's kind of fun when you unlock something and realize that there might be more there, but I get how it is also a challenge because you're kind of seeing this as like one part of a building block, like one part of a structure, but then you're trying to turn that into a whole structure in itself when you weren't thinking of it that way is a writing challenge. So I'm with you on that. I feel that. I had my second acceptance published piece come out today, and now I'm convinced it must have been magic because I'm trying to start another project and it's yeah. Well, first off, congrats on getting your second acceptance published piece coming out today. That's awesome. I mean, I think the thing to know about that is that the doesn't stop, right? So I'm just going to keep doing fart noises. I was talking about this with a writer recently, a screenwriter, sitcom writer in an event, an interview I did. And the more you write, it's not that the stops, like that always keeps going. What changes is that your belief in yourself. I think that even though you're starting with that, you can turn it into something more. So I would say that that's a normal feeling. I feel that. I felt that with this project. I feel that like with every project, basically, that it's just like, oh, this is crap. Like, what am I doing? But what has changed, I think, in my life is that the more I do, the more I'm like, it's not going to stay like that, you know? And so I would encourage you to keep going. And eventually, again, I wish that I could say that, like, eventually, like, oh, you skip the portion, but you don't. That's there, you know? But what you do develop over time is your confidence or belief or hope that you're going to be able to like keep going and push through and find something in it. And that's, you've done it because you've done it before, you know? You had your second acceptance. Great. Yeah, you're writing. People are responding to your writing. You can do it. You're demonstrating it. And so you just keep going, and eventually, you know, you develop those skills. But it's almost like one of the skills you're developing is belief in yourself, confidence in your own abilities, that like you're just going to figure it out. It's going to take time and effort. And it's like a thing where it's like planting a seed or something. You know, the first time you plant a seed, you're like, I don't know what this is going to do. But like for your writing, it gets to the point where you're like, okay, if I put in the work, if I put in the time, I'll figure this out. I don't know when, and I don't know how, because it seems impossible right now. This all seems horrible. But if I put in the time, and if I put in the effort, it seems like the past has shown me eventually I'm going to turn this into something. So that's what I'd say. Yes. And congrats, and exciting. That is awesome. All right. Yeah. Before we head into our final sprint, I'm going to share the little update. I shared the hummingbird that's been outside my office. I think I might have a better update next week because I feel like it might have hatched, but I was looking this up, and hummingbird babies are very quiet because they're so small and they don't want to attract predators. So it's been very quiet, but checked on the hummingbird. She's still doing really well. She's cute as a button. Here, I'm going to like step in a little closer. I'm trying to like videotape her without freaking her out. Yeah, she's just in her little teacup nest there, made out of spider silk, which is so cool that they, yeah. It was so funny. I walked by earlier and I saw something sticking out of the back of her nest, and it took me like 15 minutes to be like, what is that? There's something else in there with her. And like, I just staring at it. And then eventually I just realized, oh, that's just her tail sticking out of the back. Let's do that one more time. Yeah. So we haven't named the hummingbird. It's just the hummingbird. And that's what we think of it as, because like she is the hummingbird. But she is so beautiful. She is a resourceful queen. Yeah. And yeah, I love it. So this is a little bit of slice of nature. Hopefully next week we can have an exciting update. Maybe we can try to get some like footage of her feeding her babies if that happens. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to scare her off, so I'm like keeping my distance. But it's been pretty awesome having this little occupant. Another, you know, in the she's not paying rent though, actually. So now that I think about it, she's gonna be raising a family here at our house. She should probably be chipping in to to pay the rent. Nisi, I think that's a great question. I kept wondering what her perspective is if you videoing her. Like, she's just like, this creeper needs to back off right now. What is going on? Yes, she's a cutie, but like, she needs to contribute. to the rent. I think that's like my takeaway from this, is that of like, she's gonna be living here and raising family. Although maybe she is contributing with her cuteness and just like the sense of wonder that we get from her. So that's her share of the rent. All right. Let's finish it off now. I think we are going to do let's do a shorter sprint because we'll be kind of focused today. We're going to do a 15-minute sprint just to close things out. I want to thank everyone for being here today. If you haven't, you can RSVP for next week again, where we are focusing on antagonists. So next week we're going to have focused sprints like we normally do. Talking about antagonists and how they can bring conflict and sharpen your characters and just like really help your story. And if you want to join on Wednesday for Let's Write Scripts, there is also a link in the description below. All right, so I think that's it. That's the announcements. That's the hummingbird. That's really the important things to cover. And we're going to hop into the final sprint. You have to leave during the sprint. No worries. Thanks for coming. Say farewell in the chat. Hope to see you later this week or next week. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just close out and do a little more writing. And I think that's a good way to start our weeks. It's Monday morning or afternoon or evening, depending where you are. But starting the week with writing is always a great idea. So I'm going to play the music, put 15 minutes on the clock, and we're going to end strong. And I'll say our final farewells after the sprint. So let's jump into it. Let's do it. All right, everyone. That brings us to the end of the final writing sprint for Monday, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone, by the way. For Let's Write Books, I hope to see some of you on Wednesday at Let's Write Scripts and the rest of you next week at Let's Write Books. You can RSVP for both of those in the link below. Thanks to you all for coming. I'm so glad you're here. Hope you got some good writing done. Had a good time. Until next time, be kind to yourselves and happy writing. See you later, everybody.